The Haunted Playground, a night of friendship, memories, and ghosts. Nights in Moonlight Town were usually calm, soft streetlights glowing outside the houses, the distant sound of a barking dog, and the cool breeze of the evening. But that night felt different. There was a strange whisper in the air. The leaves moved, as if someone was walking slowly through them. And from Shadow Park, a faint giggle echoed. The laugh of a little girl. Ayan switched on his torch. Did you both hear that? Mira nodded. Yes, it's that same voice people talk about, right? Rafi looked around nervously. Maybe some kid is hiding here. Come, let's check. The three of them walked towards the swings. Slowly, carefully. Each step made the ground sound heavier. The swings had stopped moving, but on the ground lay an old toy rabbit, half buried in dirt, half visible. Mira picked it up. It's so old. Maybe it belonged to that girl. Ayan noticed something. Around the toy's neck was a faded ribbon, and on it, written in dust-covered letters, Lily. All three went silent. The air stopped moving. And then, suddenly, the merry-go-round began to spin on its own, faster and faster, as if someone was having fun. Look at that! Rafi shouted. But there was no one around. Ayan took a deep breath and said softly, We didn't come here to find you, Lily. We came to understand you. At that very moment, the spinning carousel stopped, and in the middle, a dim light started to appear. The light slowly took shape. A little girl, about 8 years old, in a white dress, hair loose, and eyes glowing softly. Don't be scared, she said gently. I just wanted to play. My friends promised they'd come, but they never did. And then, one day, I was all alone. Mira whispered. What happened to you, Lily? Lily looked down. I fell from that very swing. And after that, everyone left. Only I stayed, with the wind and the memories. Ayan felt something warm in his heart. Lily, you're not alone anymore. We're your friends now. We'll come every week to play with you. Lily's face lit up with joy. Really? Rafi smiled. Of course, but next time, don't scare us like this. Lily laughed, for the first time. And as her laughter echoed in the air, the whole park lit up. The swings sparkled, the slide shone bright, and everything looked like a dream. Then Lily's body began to fade slowly. With a peaceful smile, she said, Now I can finally rest. You kept your promise. This park will forever be a place of friendship. And with that, she disappeared into the light. The next morning, when the three friends returned to the park, they stood frozen in surprise. The whole place looked fresh, painted, clean, and full of life again. On the gate, a shining new board read, Welcome to Lily's Park, a place of friendship forever. And under the swing, the same toy rabbit was placed neatly, as if someone had left it there saying, I'm still here. Ayan picked it up with a smile. Come on, he said. Let's play again for Lily. As they began to play, a soft giggle echoed in the air. Lily's voice, warm and happy, floating like a blessing through the wind. Narrator? Here is the story, exactly as you provided it. The Haunted Playground, Part 2. Lily's Return, The Shadow After the Light. For the next few days, everything seemed normal. Ayan, Mira, and Rafi visited Lily Park every evening. They laughed on the swings, slid down the slide, and that old toy rabbit still sat right in the middle, like the guardian of the park. Everything was peaceful. Until one night, the wind whispered again. Soft but sad this time. My friends. Ayan froze. Did you hear that? That was Lily's voice. Mira turned around quickly. But she was set free, right? Rafi gulped nervously. Yeah, but maybe something was left behind. A new mystery, the shadow beneath the light. The next morning, the park looked strange. On the swing, someone had written with dirt, Don't forget me. Rafi laughed a little. Maybe some kid played a prank. But Ayan felt something odd deep inside, a silent pull, like a memory calling out. That night, the three of them returned to the park. It was completely silent. Only the slow creak of the swing filled the air. Suddenly, the ground under the swing cracked slightly. Ayan switched on his torch. Something shiny was buried there. They dug a little and found a small locket. Inside was an old photograph of Lily and another little girl beside her. Mira gasped. Lily had a sister? Rafi frowned. But no one ever mentioned her. The secret of Lily's sister. Before they could think further, the wind turned wild. The swings began to move on their own. All the park lights went out, except one faint glow from the locket itself. and from that glow came a delicate whisper. "Find my sister." Ayan's eyes widened. "Who are you? Are you Lily?" The voice replied softly. "No. I'm Emma, her sister. Lily is trapped in my memory. She cannot rest until you find me." The Whispering Woods. The next day, the friends went searching for answers. They met Grandpa Ramat, the oldest man in Moonlight Town. He spoke quietly, with eyes full of memories. "Yes, years ago 2 sisters played in this very park. Lily and Emma. One day, they both disappeared. Lily's body was found, but Emma was never seen again." Ayan whispered. "Then Emma's spirit is still lost." Grandpa nodded slowly. "If you truly wish to uncover the truth, go to the old forest behind the park, where the names of forgotten children are carved into trees." The journey through the night. That night, the 3 friends gathered their courage and entered the forest. Everything was silent, except for the faint glow of fireflies lighting their way. On the tree trunks, old names were carved: Tom, Sarah, Lily. And right below them, almost invisible, the name Emma. Mira reached out and touched it gently. Suddenly, the ground trembled. From behind the tree, a pale light emerged, and a small girl appeared, younger than Lily, but with the same eyes. "Are you Emma?" Rafi asked softly. The girl nodded. "Yes. I came to free my sister. But I need your help. Lily is still trapped inside the park, where we played for the very first time." The return to the park, the final game. They rushed back to the park. The air trembled. The swings moved wildly on their own. Ayan placed the locket gently on the swing and whispered, "Lily, your sister has come for you." The swing began to glow, and from that light, 2 shadows formed. 2 little sisters, holding hands, smiling. Lily's soft voice echoed, "Thank you. Now we're together again. From now on, this park will always be a place for laughter, never for fear." The 2 sisters turned into pure light, rising into the sky together. The entire park shimmered under the moonlight. The next morning, when the friends returned the next day, a brand new board was shining on the gate. Lily and Emma Friendship Park. A place of love and laughter forever. Ayan, Mira, and Rafi looked at each other. Peace in their hearts, smiles on their faces. Mira looked up at the sky and said softly, "This place isn't scary anymore. It's full of friendship now." That was a great ending to the story. It's formatted just as you provided, ready to be read. The Haunted Playground, Part 3. The Silent Bell and the Forgotten Promise. After that night, everything seemed peaceful again. The park was now bright, full of laughter and children's voices. The name on the gate, Lily and Emma Friendship Park, had become the pride of Moonlight Town. Ayan, Mira, and Rafi often visited the park together. But one night, something changed again. The sound of the bell. Mira was sitting in her room doing her homework, when suddenly she heard a faint bell ringing outside. Tin, tin. Exactly the same bell that used to ring when children played in the park. She peeped through the window. The street was dark, but in the distance, the park swing was moving on its own. And near the swing lay a small golden box. Her heart filled with both fear and curiosity. The next morning, she went to the park to see it. The secret of the golden box. When all 3 friends reached the park, the golden box was still there under the swing. Ayan carefully opened it. Inside was an old key and a folded piece of paper with a single line written on it. "Turn the clock before midnight." Rafi frowned. "Sounds like it's talking about some old clock, but there's no clock in this park, right?" Mira said softly. "Maybe there's one in the old storeroom, the one behind the park where they keep the broken rides." The dark storeroom. They went to the back of the park, where an old locked room stood, covered in dust and spider webs. The key fit perfectly. The door creaked open. Inside were rusty swings, faded photos, and on the wall, a huge clock that had stopped ticking long ago. Its hands were frozen. Ayan reached out and slowly turned the clock's hand backward. Just before it could strike midnight, the whole room filled with a bright flash of light. A shadow appeared. But it wasn't Lily, and it wasn't Emma. It was an old woman, holding the same toy rabbit that once belonged to Lily. The mysterious guardian? Her voice was soft but carried weight. "I was the first caretaker of this park. But one day, I made a mistake. I locked the gate before the children's play bell rang, and that was the night Lily and Emma disappeared." Ayan whispered, shocked. "Are you their grandmother?" The old woman shook her head. "No, child. I was their guardian. When I failed in my duty, my soul became bound to this park. Lily and Emma were freed, but I wasn't. I can only rest when a child makes a true promise to never leave a game unfinished again. A promise from the heart. Mira stepped forward and gently held her hand. We promise, she said softly. We'll take care of this park. It will never be empty again. It will always echo with laughter. As soon as she spoke, a golden glow spread across the room. The old woman smiled. Now I can finally go. Her form slowly dissolved into light, and the clock began to tick again. A new beginning. The next morning, a new bell had been installed in the park, bright, golden, shining in the sunlight. On it, these words were engraved. The promise bell. Never stop playing. Whenever a child sat on the swing, the bell would ring. Tin. Tin. And the whole park seemed to smile. Ayan, Mira, and Rafi looked at one another. Mira whispered, "This park doesn't belong to just Lily and Emma anymore. It belongs to all of us. Would you like to start a new short story? Or maybe a summary of..." Here is The Haunted Playground, Part 4, as you wrote it. The Midnight Bell and the Forgotten Promise. Days passed by. Lily and Emma Friendship Park had become the heart of the whole town. Every evening, laughter and giggles of children filled the air, making the park come alive with happiness. In the middle of the park hung a golden bell. On it was written, "The Promise Bell, never stop playing." All the kids lovingly called it the Friendship Bell. But no one knew one important thing, that the bell should never be rung after midnight. Only Ayan, Mira, and Rafi knew that secret. A new kid, a new secret. One day, a new boy came to the park. Ahmed. He had just moved into the neighborhood. Curious by nature, he loved to try everything himself. When Mira told him, this bell should never be rung at night, he laughed and said, "Why? Do angels sleep at night? Or do ghosts wake up?" Everyone laughed. But Ayan said seriously, "Ahmed, it's not a joke. Don't ever touch that bell at midnight." The midnight moment. That night, Ahmed couldn't sleep. He looked out of the window and saw the friendship bell glowing under the moonlight. Just once. "I'll ring it once and see," he whispered to himself. It was 2 minutes to 12. He quietly sneaked out and walked to the park. The silence was so deep he could hear his own heartbeat. He reached out and rang the bell. Tin, tin, tin. Suddenly, the wind stopped. The crickets fell silent. The swings started moving on their own. The ground trembled softly. The return of an old promise. As the bell echoed, a mist rose from the center of the park. Out of the mist appeared an ancient clock, and on it were carved the words, "The Time of Forgotten Promises." Ahmed stepped back in fear. A bright white light appeared, and a familiar voice echoed, "Someone has broken the promise." The voice came from everywhere. Then a shadow formed. It wasn't Lily, it wasn't Emma. It was the old woman they had once freed. But this time, her face was grave. She said softly, "I didn't want to return, but the promise has been broken. The bell must never ring at midnight. Now the balance of this park is disturbed." The door of time opens. Hearing the strange noise, Mira, Ayan, and Rafi rushed to the park. They saw the bell ringing by itself. Cracks were appearing in the ground, and from those cracks a door began to rise. Behind it swirled darkness, light, and lost memories. The old woman said, "Only a pure friendship can save this park now. A heart that rings the bell not out of fear, but out of love." Ayan grabbed Ahmed's hand and said, "We'll ring it together. For friendship, not for fear." All four touched the bell together. Tin. Light exploded all around, the mist disappeared, and the door slowly closed. The victory of friendship. When morning came, the park looked more beautiful than ever. Flowers had bloomed, the swing shone brightly, and a new line was engraved on the bell. The true promise. Friendship never sleeps. Ahmed said softly, "I really didn't know." Ayan smiled and replied, "Now you do. Friendship isn't just about playing together, it's about keeping promises." The end, but the feeling remains. Narrator, softly. Some promises aren't bound by time. They live inside hearts, and when hearts are true, even fear turns into a story, and stories never die.